the head coach of Cal at his first ACC kickoff. Justin Wilcox is now joining us here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. As he gets the microphone set, you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. A lot of different microphones, a lot of different interviews.
All good.
You're
I figured it out.
them all. Well, kind of along those lines, I was just saying this to our listeners. From like your Wikipedia page, you look like an old school West Coast Pac-12. Your dad played at Oregon. The Wilcox are like the first family of Oregon football. You coach in the Pac-12. It's got to be weird being here, right?
I don't think it's weird. I think it's, if you'd have asked, 3 years ago if I thought we'd be here, I thought you're probably a little crazy, but we're excited to be here. I mean, lots happened in college football in the last couple of years, and we are relishing the opportunity.
All right. And coaches, football coaches especially, right? You love a good slogan. You love like an identity, the core pillars of the program. What's the identity that you want the ACC to talk about, like, right after they play Cal, right? When the coaches of the other teams get together and they're like, geez, that team was –
They love playing. They love playing together. I think, guys, that you can see it when a team loves playing football, and same with individual players, and I know guys have a lot of different motivations on why they play the game, but the love of the game, the passion for the game, the competitiveness of it, that's what we want to show.
So let's talk about a few of them. We're talking with the head coach of Cal, Justin Wilcox. Jaden Ott, we're talking 30, 35 carries a game. What are we expecting this year?
He might. I don't know if 35 carries every game would be optimal, but there'll be some games. You got it. And we're going to make sure he touches the ball a lot. I mean, he can run it, he can catch it, he can return it. We obviously we have some other backs that we feel strong about, but Jaden obviously is going to get his share of touches, and there might be some of those games where it's as many as needed.
How difficult is that, right? Because, I've always thought that's got to be difficult for the offensive play caller to have that kind of restraint when it's like, no, I want that guy. Every play looks better with our All-American, right?
Yep.
But you do have to work in the other backs to get them reps or to spell the All-American. How difficult is it, when there's a 3rd and 2 or when there's a 2nd and 2 to not just go straight to your bell cow?
Well, on the critical downs, you want your best players having the ball. Can you manage that, especially if you're running some tempo and things like that? Not always, but we're going to make sure Jaden gets his touches. We're also going to be cognizant of, spreading the ball around, because we're going to need to do that. And other guys are going to have to carry the load, not only in the backfield, but the QBs and the receivers and tight ends. So, it's our job to manage that. But I know Jaden will take the ball as much as we give it to him.
As every running back that I've ever met is in that category.
That's right.
And wide receivers as well. Speaking of the guys getting it to the wide receivers, Fernando Mendoza, he actually just walked by here. You see how the ACC brands themselves, right? They're the conference of quarterbacks.
Yep.
They throw stats in your face. 13 quarterbacks. This is straight from the ACC handbook. 13 quarterbacks in the conference with 20-plus passing touchdowns and 3,500-plus passing yards in their career. Your guy's not one of them. Where does he fit in as a passer with so many names already established?
Well, Fernando came in. He was a year ago. He's a third-string quarterback. He had just redshirted. Halfway through the season, he took over the starting job, really won the team over. He showed great competitiveness, leadership, and got better and better as the season went on. He still has things to work on, and he's done an awesome job in this offseason, improving himself as a player. So I think the future is very bright for Fernando. Chandler Rogers also came in from the transfer portal. He's a seasoned player. He's played a lot of college football and seen it all. He can make plays with his legs and his arm. He's done a really nice job getting familiar with the offense. So we feel really good about the quarterback room, and both those guys, the competition in that room is making both of them better.
Talk of the transfer portal, and we're talking with Justin Wilcox, head coach of Cal, Kyon Grays and Tobias Merriweather out of Ohio State and Notre Dame. Obviously, those locations coming out of the transfer portal are going to raise some eyebrows. Their recruiting profiles. What did they bring to the offense? How do they kind of change it?
Well, they certainly have traits. I mean, Tobias is big and fast. I mean, he can really run, and he's tall. Grays got here, and he's been here this summer. And he can really move. Mm-hmm. He can run. He's a competitive guy. That room has more physical traits. I think that group, just from the athletic standpoint, we've improved significantly. Now it's about where does it all sort out? I couldn't tell you right now who's number 1 to number 7, but there's talent in there, and it's our job as coaches is to develop that talent and for those guys to take advantage of the opportunities to be the guy.
You have a guy that we're pretty familiar with in our area of Carolina, Ben Finley. Has he?
Ben was with us last year. Ben is no longer there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to hit him up for a little scouting report? He knows the ACC pretty well.
He does. Ben played a few games for us, did a good job, and at the end of the year he transferred out. But Ben did a good job for us. He was at NC State. That's exactly right.
One more thing here, and we're getting the 2 minutes here. I have to ask. Boise State 07 Fiesta Bowl might be my favorite college football game of all time. You're the DC for Boise, helping pull off that upset. Give us some stories from the sideline.
Okay. That was my first year as a defensive coordinator. We had a really good football team. Brian Harsin was our offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Pete, Chris Peterson was the head coach. A lot of those guys are still coaching. Played Oklahoma. It was kind of one of the first you call it, I guess, in those days is the BCS Buster.
Mm-hmm.
The little guys playing Oklahoma, and
because of you, we rooted for Hawaii and stuff, and then they got smoked by Georgia.
Yeah, and looking back on
the next Boise,
and Oklahoma had a really good team. Obviously, Adrian Peterson was phenomenal, but we went into the game very confident, and ended up winning. And we actually played real well at spurts and made a couple of bad decisions that kind of put us in a tighter game. But looking back on it, I mean, the players we had at Boise, they were really good. I mean, we had, I think, 4 guys in the secondary played in the NFL. The left tackle was a first-round draft pick. The running back was good. 3 of the wideouts played. I mean, the tight end was a draft pick. So it wasn't just a bunch of ham and eggers. Like, these guys were real players. And they were great to coach. It was a real competitive game. And obviously the ending was what it was. But I do remember sitting up in the box when I was sitting there, and they called the 2-point play, the Statue of Liberty. And I remember right when we lined up, the coaches in the box, because of the alignment of the defense, like, we got them. And that, so kind of before the play, it was like, we got them.
So the most shocking play, like in the entire season, you had like
a
6 seconds before
head up. It was like, headset's coming off.
All right, there you go. Justin, we appreciate you for taking the time and telling a story or two, and good luck as you make your way into the ACC.
Thank you very much. Go Bears.